We're live. Hello, my divine, infinite human beings. You're all that is, ever has been, and ever, ever, ever shall be. And we're just waiting for Voice America, who will kick in here in a minute because we're going to go live on Voice America. But for you that are joining me live here on the video, I just wanted to come in a little bit earlier and say, this is not a green screen. This is the most incredible place, I swear, that I am now living in, Kiki and I. It is, I don't know if it's a museum, a palace, but it's an ancient, ancient building. And you can see these granite stones that hold frequency. It's 3 stories. It's huge. It can sleep like 9 or 10 people. It's 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, terrazzo, and it's also under the ground, subterranean part of it, the downstairs, and it's just amazing. It's like a museum. It has ancient stairwells in it and antiques, and it's incredible. And I had no idea I would be, living here. I would be renting this. I just saw it and I said, okay, I'm supposed to rent it. And I think it's supposed to be to serve uh, as a very sacred space to bring people, especially women, here for pilgrimages, um, to reclaim, okay, our divinity. I'm calling it the Palace of the Goddess, because this Malta it is filled with temples, goddess temples that were, we were co-opted away from our true history by the Luciferian Templar Knights who stole the template of our planet. But I'm not going to get into that more detail because I'll wait till we start broadcasting. But I just want to take a moment to say this to those who are tuning in. But isn't this incredible? I got a little Santa today. For the Christmas season for Kiki. Her birthday's Christmas Eve, so I do Christmas up for her. So we're gonna have a very interesting show, a really big show tonight. We're just gonna kind of talk about. Oh, here we got Voice America. Hi, I went ahead and started live broadcasting. Let's see who's here today. Hey, is that you, Matt?
Yep. Hi, Elizabeth. How you doing?
Hi, who is this? Whose voice is
Yep,
this?
this is Matt.
Oh yeah, hi Matt. How are you? Great to see you. So I went ahead and started live streaming because I always forget to push the button. So I'm live streaming. So I'm,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's. Okay. So
How's
you're
my
sounding
mic
pretty
sound?
good. Yeah, it sounded really good. Just go ahead and give me a count back from 5. I'll get a level check.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Yep. Sounding loud and clear. All right.
Good.
And you going solo on this show, or is it we have a
Yes.
guest joining?
Okay. I'm going solo, and I'd
Uh-huh.
like to just have one break in the middle, if you don't mind. But let's take
Sure.
out the call-in part because
That is. Well, I think that's
that's all right.
on
You
the
can leave it. I
rejoiner.
guess
Yeah, I
I'm
can't.
live. I forgot. I thought I was
Yeah.
recording this, but pre-record. But yeah, I'm live. So okay, we'll put it in.
Okay.
I don't
All
have my
right.
headphones. Do you think I need my headphones?
I don't think so. It's sounded fine. We're good.
Okay.
Let's see. We've got 2 minutes here, and we'll get started.
Oh, okay. And I'll open up the comments, the
Yeah, let
private
me.
chat,
Yeah,
so you
send you a
can
hello. Yeah.
cue me for the halfway break time, commercial
Yep.
break.
Will do. Will do.
I see you. I see you.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So this is my new place in Malta. And we're going to be starting in just 2 minutes here, guys, for you that are live.
All right. 1 minute till the open.
Okay. Are you going to count me in?
Yeah, I'll send you the open so you hear the feed.
This is the street level part. Then there's the upper part with the terrace. And then there's the lower part. It's incredible.
All right, Elizabeth, we've got just a few seconds here. I'm going to send the feed your way. Have a great show.
Okay.
Welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show with Elizabeth Monroy. Over the next hour, you'll learn how you can become part of the new consciousness renaissance by evolving yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and socially to embrace your true divine infinite nature and become an infinite human and co-creator of the new infinite earth. Now, here is your host, Elizabeth Monroy.
Hello, my divine, infinite human beings. You're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And tonight we're going to have a really, or this morning, wherever you are hearing this, we're going to have a really interesting and kind of connecting the dots integrative show that's going to kind of take us from the past. Now, this is developmental, so if you're kind of lost, everything is in my book, The Infinite Human, and you can see some of the earlier podcasts because we started with Columbus Day, basically introducing the fact that maybe history isn't the way we've been taught it. And today we're going to talk about the truth about Thanksgiving, that it wasn't pilgrims and Indians sitting down and having turkey. And we're going to get into basically the truth behind America and why it was founded, what it was founded for, what its objective was. And then we're going to tie that into the present time of the two timelines, the ascending Kristalla spiral, to some call it 5D Earth, and the descending Fibonacci spiral that is descending down into fallen parallel universes where you really don't want to go. But we're going to talk more and more about how you can get more firmly on the Kristalla spiral so you can truly experience the joy, the bliss, the abundance, your birthright as an ascending, blossoming, infinite human being. So I want to just take a minute to ground you now, always into your true divine infinite nature and divine infinite source, which is always within you. So just take a moment if you can. If you're driving, you don't have to close your eyes, but just kind of take a nice deep breath, breathing in the two most powerful words ever uttered, I am. And exhale, infinite, 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 infinite. Breathing in again, I am. Infinite love, love, love. I am. Infinite truth, truth, truth. And again, I am. Infinite source, source, source. And know that always in these challenging times when perhaps you are a bit confused, unclear, concerned about your future, about the state of the world today, you can always just take a nice deep breath, breathing I am, and go deeply, deeply within to that divine infinite spark that is always ignited within you, which will connect you into infinite source. And know that the truth is there is no time. You are just simply a flash sequence that is flashing into source and out, constantly creating your holographic reality. So create the best one. And that's what this show's all about. And we're going to be focusing more and more on how you can co-create the optimal holographic template, your optimal reality, and the optimal infinite you. So I want to just explain that infinite is just that, infinite. There's no limits. It's all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And it is constantly reconnecting you back and feeding from infinite source. And it is a beautiful give and take, just like your breath. And that is the true way that the universe, the multiverse, this infinite multiverse that we live in is supposed to function. But unfortunately, we are in a fallen time matrix, which is resetting to the infinite, or the Kristalla spiral, which is realigning, recalibrating us back to infinite source. However, the fallen angelics, or the parasites, as I think E.M. Parks so eloquently put it, the parasites do not feed. They have chosen to disconnect themselves from the oneness of all things, from the divine will of infinite creation, and to play nicely, to work in harmony and unity with everyone, and to honor everyone's free will. They have disconnected themselves and are usurping others' free will, and are parasitically in need of feeding off of others. Okay, so just so you get that straight, and that is the Fibonacci spiral, which is pulling you down to be fed upon by these parasites, which you don't want to do. All right. And no fear here. It's just making wise choices moment to moment. So when I say parasites, that's what I'm talking about. Those that don't feed from infinite source. So I want to just talk to you about the truth about Thanksgiving, because even though this is broadcast all over in English, and I'm in Malta right now, Kiki and I have just settled into Malta, and this beautiful I'm calling it the Palace of the Goddesses, where we are going to do some wonderful retreats to reclaim the divine feminine and the goddess energy that Malta was founded on, until it was usurped by the Luciferian Templar Knights, who co-opted our earth template. But that's a whole nother story, and I'll talk about that in another broadcast. But because I want to talk about America, though, because America has played a very very powerful and very influential role in our modern world. And just to kind of understand, I'm going to give a real brief history. If you don't understand it, no problem. I explain it in my book in more detail. But basically, these parasitic entities, these fallen angelics, have created a race of beings, and we'll call them Nelefin Anunnaki hybrids, that have been created to basically destroy the true magic grail lines, the true Christic beings, the true angelic human beings, which, if you're listening to me, you and I are them, but we also kind of have both light and dark within us. And what they have done is they have invaded throughout our history all the Christic communities, and they have moved in. And the first thing they have done is they have raped the women to procreate, because they are fallen angelics and their genetics are constantly being deteriorated. So they need to parasite off of the Christic beings who have the 12 strands, the true DNA. So our whole history is this, if you know what you're looking at. All right. You can look at, especially, I'll just talk about Western history, because that's what I was raised on. And if you look at the true history of the Israelites, the true 12 tribes were the Christic tribes, and they were the remnants after the fall of the golden age of Lemuria, Atlantis, or Elania, which keeps repeating itself. But these were the Christic tribes that had managed to survive, and who managed to keep moving away from these invaders. But they were invaded, and so the 12 tribes we read about in the Bible are really the Leviathan hybrids, the Anunnaki hybrids, who would come into a culture and take it over by killing the men and breeding with the women, and creating the next generation of Anunnaki hybrids. So this is something that continued from Israel. It went into Egypt. It went into all the Greece. The Greek culture was an invading culture for a long time, and then it moved into the Roman culture, which was huge. And then they raided, especially they went up into England, where a lot of these leftover, from the Atlantean times, these Christic communities had gone to hide, and they were hiding out in the islands of Ireland, and then they moved up into Scotland and Cornwall. And then we saw, of course, what happened with them We also had the Spanish Inquisition and Spain that invaded the Americas, and we talked about that on Columbus Day and how they basically created a genocide there. So, and then of course in England, I think Braveheart's the best example of that, of how they reinstated the prima norte, which is the right of the noblemen, and these by then the England was invaded. They had been invaded. It's such a long story, by the Gaul, the Vikings, the Normans, invading races that had taken them over. So just so you understand, it's always been this constant invading into cultures. So what we have now is America, and we think that Thanksgiving is about pilgrims and Indians, coming together in peace and love and sharing turkey. Well, not the truth. All right. In fact, last year when I did my book tour, I went to Jamestown, which is actually where my family lineage comes from. And I still have on my mother's side family in that area, Matthews County, that have been there since they came over in 1606. The ship, it was not the Nina, the Pina, and the Santa Maria, but it was more like pirate ships, and they were filled with 106 men. 50 of them were English nobles, and the rest were mostly like homeless boys who had no other choice but to serve at sea. And they arrived, and they absolutely had no idea how to take care of themselves. And basically, the Indians took pity on them because when winter came, they were starving. And this is where Pocahontas comes in, and she was sent by her father to bring them herbs to heal them and food so they could survive. And because she did this, they survived. And this Jamestown is the first English settlement that survived. There were other ones, but this is the first one that survived. So what happened then? You think, oh, they would be so grateful. They would, embrace their native brothers and sisters, even though they had taken over their hunting ground, and learn from them how to respect Mother Earth and how to plant food to sustain them, right? No, that wasn't what happened at all. What happened is they actually kidnapped Pocahontas, and they killed her true husband, and they forced her to marry an Englishman and shipped her back to England, and she had a child. Okay, so they bred with her higher genetics, which was, one of the points of it, as I mentioned before. And then she died a year later. She was miserable. And then they did not plant, sustain themselves. They planted tobacco, a cash crop, because they were founded by a corporation, the Virginia Company, and they were there to exploit the land, to make money, to make profits. And to further their margins of profit, they brought in black slaves to tend the tobacco. So this is the foundation of America, so this Make America Great Again. Well, that, great would have to go back to the pre-fall of Atlantis. So this is not a good way to start a country. That's the foundation, which I'm telling you this because I'm an American. I had a lot of karma. Believe me, my husband and I, Peter, he was a doctor. And we worked with we worked with the Native Americans on the Navajo reservation and all over the West. We work with the poor blacks in Orangeburg, South Carolina. We paid our dues, okay? And of course, we also feel this because, these are all identities, and many of us have been on the Native American receiving side. And I remember being a slave on this huge plantation near Pawleys Island. So, but because we're all one. But this is something we all, in our own individual way, have to work out. And we have to heal that rift. And we have to move on. So we're going to be talking, we're going to be having next week the great Sasha Stone, who is a visionary. He's going to talk about New Earth communities and some of his visions for the New Earth communities that are doing it different. And when I talk about getting on the Kristalla spiral, I think the key to really positioning yourself in this wonderful Kristalla spiral of infiniteness, of abundance, of joy, of bliss, of bioregenesis, is to do things different, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So we got to do it different, guys. We got to do it different. So let's look at America. All right. Let's look at the history of it, a really brief history. And that's why I like to look at America, because all these things happened other places, but America had happened in really just a blink of an eye in terms of the history of our planet. And basically, America was founded by a corporation, and the United States of America is a corporation, and it's owned by European aristocrats. So, this idea of being free is just a lot of, there's some beautiful things that have happened. There's some wonderful starseed plants that, wrote the Constitution, although I talk about all men created equal. I think we're missing something there, ladies. Okay. All men created equal, governments by men. All right. So it's not as, equal as we pretend it is. But, still, it is a constitution, and it's important to uphold that. But with that said, it's it's no wonder that now America is just a huge corporation. And one of the biggest problems is that all these small towns, the communities, the agrarian culture that we had, the local farmers, although they're coming back, thank God, but they were so attacked and so destroyed. And we're at a point now where most all food, and I want to do a whole talk show on food, but most of the food in America comes from a back of a truck. Even if, and I was on the talk show with a beautiful lady who's a devout vegan. And I spent a long time in the States. A year ago I was there, and I walked into many of the health food stores, and there's hardly anything alive in the health food stores. It's all trucked in, it's all prefabbed, it's all in boxes or carts or whatever. And there are some farmer markets, but unless you're really, going to a farm and market, the farmers, what they're growing, you're really eating that, which is hard to do in many places. You don't know what you're eating. So it's a huge thing now. So and your choices are so limited because they're dictated by what the corporations are selling you. Sorry, got a lot of dust here in Malta. So, with that said, all right, it's time to do it different. It's time to get small. It's time to get into smaller communities. Now, if you look at the development of America, especially after World War II, it became the superpower, and it pretty much went into Europe and took over Germany, and became one of the most influential factors in the Western world. In Italy, they say if America sneezes, Italy gets a cold. So let's look at that, because I'm saying that now because I'm watching the YouTube channel here in Europe, because I live in Europe. At least I've watched it in Italy. And now they're starting to do something they didn't ever do, but they're starting to bring in all this processed food, trying to get the Italians to buy it, which they don't want to do because they still have their taste buds left. They can taste the fakeness in it. And along with the attack on their food, they're bringing in all these like Maalox, because of course, if you eat that kind of food, you're going to get terrible stomach aches and digestion problems. And they're promoting vaccinations, and they're promoting all these pharmaceuticals, which you can't watch American television without seeing that, take this, but then all the side effects it has is because it's poison. It's poisoning your body, and the side effects are telling you don't take this. But that, and I think we've seen what's happened to our country. Anyone that's hearing my voice knows what has happened in America, and the problem is it's being exported abroad. And if you look at and I have a long, detailed chapter in my book about exactly how the Rockefeller Foundation and the DuPont Foundation together began to create products that were toxic. We're talking about the pesticides, the plastics, all these things that are inundated in our American culture. And now we have to do everything the opposite. And it really takes a lot of effort. But I'm here in Malta, for example, and I just walked around, and when I go to the grocery store, okay, when I went to the States, when the grocery store, I got paper bags, but the paper bags were so faulty, they would like break, So I'd be like, just give me plastic. I can't even carry 'em. It's not doing its job. But here, when I go anywhere, I get, first of all, I get paper straws. I get biodegradable, reusable, totes at the grocery stores or whatever. I mean, things are much better organized. And the thing that the whole point about America, because a lot of times, we have this division. Oh, you're not green. Oh, you're not this, you're not that. But it's all been created. It's so difficult. I mean, our whole culture is based on fast food. It's based on spraying pesticides on our lawns rather than having a garden to feed yourself. It's based on having big gas guzzling SUV cars. That's being American, and that's the mind control program that goes in. And it really isn't like that in other countries. I'm trying to tell you, and it actually feels good to not be that way. So I think, in this whole consumerism, and the holidays are getting coming into gear now, and the consumerism is coming in. It's just so much there. And I remember living in Europe and then coming back to the States and saying, okay, I am so happy in Europe. I love just, being. But when I get to America, there's just not that community feeling. It's like you're pressured to buy things. If you go to a mall, that's where you come together. You see people in a mall. They even do it now with the COVID. I've noticed they've been so empty, and they've got the 5G going on there. It's really hard to stay inside of there. But it's hard to find places where people can just come together, just to talk in a square, in a piazza, walking around outside, as we used to do in the older days. So, it's constantly, you have to go out to spend money, to go to a restaurant, to go to a store, to go to a mall, to go to an event. And, this consumerism is really, it just makes you always feel like you never have enough. It's the biggest attack on abundance. And abundance comes from just feeling like, one with nature. Nature is so abundant and so giving. So I think that's part of what we have to do. We have to kind of recorrect that, get back to those kind of eco communities, agrarian communities. And that's what we'll be talking about next week. All right. So, and I think, I see a lot of people with posts or just talking, and they're saying, yeah, we're taking down the systems, the cabal, we're taking out the deep state, or whatever the words you want to use. We're taking, the old world, the finite world is falling. And yeah, that's great, except what's going to take its place? What's going to happen if the government is, falls? And in Italy, it falls all the time. It just doesn't work. What's going to happen if, we don't even have an internet? Okay. I was listening to David Icke the other night, and his internet went down when he was in the middle of talking. What's going to happen if the trucks can't come through and deliver your food? Can you feed yourself? What's going to happen if there's no electricity? Are you self-sufficient? Can you generate your own power? What's going to happen, if the schools close? Can you educate your own children? Are you in a community that is supportive of helping educate and raise your children? Do you want to be around people that you would like to have influencing your children? What's going to happen if the medical system, fails, which we saw happen during COVID? So many hospitals just weren't taking people. Are you healthy enough? Are you able to create independent, healing centers that can support you in your bioregenesis, in your ascension process as you go through your different levels of healing crises. So we need to create these things. All right. We need to step out of the system and start creating these children rebel and adults create alternatives and solutions. So the key to getting on the Kristalla spiral, which nobody wants to hear this, but it's becoming self-responsible. It's creating solutions. It's creating alternatives. It's creating the kind of life you want to live. And that's extremely important. And those are going to be the true leaders. And I'm talking to leaders. Like I said, and I didn't say this at the beginning, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, only take what resonates. But I am hoping my words will incite you that just feel this frequency, feel this resonance, and feel this burning desire inside of yourself to be the change and to make a difference right now with your life in this pivotal time, and to create new systems, whatever your passion is. There's so many jobs open for Imagineers of the new earth, that you can write your own ticket and the universe will pay your bill. All right. So we're about to take a short break, but I kind of wanted to wind that up. I think I covered everything about America, so we can see that it was built on a faulty foundation, basically genociding those who held this knowledge of working in harmony with our Mother Earth. And then it was built on greed by the, English that came over here, the corporate royals, fake royals. Okay. They had killed all the true Magic Grail lines and they usurped their place. And I've talked about that a lot in my book. And then they brought in the slaves, for cheap labor. So it is built on the wrong foundation, which is why we really have to do things differently. Okay. And I know it's not comfortable. I know it's much easier to just kind of get up and let, the established normal way to take you. But it's not going to be easy anymore. It's going to get really, really hard. It's going to get hard to stay in those corporate jobs. All right. It's going to get a lot harder, because what's happened is we've made a lot of money. Americans have been very, very wealthy because they've been exactly what the New World Order wanted them to be. They've fed the corporations, they've worked in the corporations, their taxes have gone to create the One World Order military, which is the United States military. And we have been very useful to them. But you know what? They don't need us anymore. They don't need America anymore, which is why we're going to see those who stay on that descending timeline very, very economically challenging times, because they just want people to be AI bots. That's what they need now. One world order, AI robotic people who work through the hive mind. So that's what's going on. And that's the past. When we get back, we'll talk about the positive stuff, the good stuff. You got another problem, so you can find the solution. So we're going to talk about the solutions. So thanks so much for tuning in, and just stay with me, because we'll just take a short break. You can call in if you have a question or a comment. Please, I encourage you to do that. All right. And we'll just take a short break.
For more empowering words from Elizabeth Monroy and Dr. Peter Monroy, check out their latest book, The Infinite Human, an ascension guide for starseeds, twin souls, and awakening infinite humans, the co-creators of the new infinite 5D Earth. You'll also find many spiritual books to help both children and adults in their ascension back to home, to infinite God Source. Isn't it time to be part of the new consciousness renaissance? If this resonates with you, please subscribe to our website at infinitehuman.com and become part of our growing Infinite Human family.
Welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. Do you have a question or comment for Elizabeth or her guests? Please call us at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. You can also text or email your questions and comments to infinitehumanproductions@gmail.com. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We've been discussing the true history of Thanksgiving and the United States and how it was founded by a corporation and is a corporation, and basically the karmic roots of the genocide against the Native Americans and bringing in the African Americans as Black Africans as slaves. And we're talking about that's part of the old timeline, the Fibonacci timeline. And we're talking about how we can correct that, how we can get on the Kristalla timeline of ascension and co-create a beautiful, karmically free, optimal future, optimal reality. So how do we do that? That's a good question. How do we do that? How do we do that? Well, first of all, I believe that everyone that's listening to my voice, again, if you're tuning into this frequency, you have been born. You have come here with a very, very important soul mission encrypted in your consciousness, in your DNA. And as you ascend, as you evolve, as you free yourself and awaken from this mind control, this dream spell, you begin to have more and more clarity as to what it is you're supposed to be doing, and what is it you're supposed to be doing? What is the key? How do you begin to find that out? Well, first of all, it's something you're passionate about. It's something you love to do. And when I do soul mission readings, I always take people back to their first memories of playing and what they love to do. And then I kind of put it all together, and pull some cards and things like that. But basically, it's the things you love to do and get back to simple things, whether it's writing, making up stories, or singing songs, or playing in nature, playing games, because we're going to be creating things in new categories. And I've done these soul mission readings for many, many years, but the biggest problem I encountered is that I help people become more, I always just am a mirror, I just work to help empower you, and found that people can, as we unfold their soul missions, they get extremely excited and they say, yes, that feels so good. Yes, I want to do that. They get so excited about it. But they end up many times falling short or failing at really making it happen. One, because maybe it wasn't the right timing. And I believe now is the time. The time is now. Your time is now. But it's also they get caught up in the whole black magic Babylonian system. And I really want to say that if you wholeheartedly, and this is just, again, this is my experience, all right? This is my perspective, so only take what resonates. But my experience is that when you totally put your faith in your intuitive abilities, okay? I say intuition, not intuition. Wishing comes from your finite ego, and a lot of times it comes from you just wanting something for the wrong reasons, perhaps. But when you begin to develop a bigger sense of yourself, the infinite you begin to realize you are one with everything. And you begin to just want to be of service, because you realize when you help this person, it comes back. Everything you put out comes back to you. So you want to put love, you want to put passion, you want to put life and excitement out, and that will position you on the Kristalla spiral, and gratitude, just being grateful for every little thing. So you really have to start believing in yourself and having faith in the guidance that you are getting. And I think all of you, if you're here tuning to this, you're following your intuition to some extent. It's bringing you to the position, to the things you need to be hearing, to the signs, to the symbols. You're starting to trust your feelings. And basically, we have been traumatized. MK Ultra, trauma-based, mind-controlled, and the trauma has stopped us, has fragmented our soul, and it has split our brain into many, many different identities. We call that past life. And it's caused us to become confused, to lack faith, to lack confidence in ourselves, because we don't even know who we are. There's so many aspects of us. And ascension, and we'll talk about that in the month of December in more detail, what ascension really is inwardly ascending, ascension. And as you recover and heal all these aspects of yourself, and that is your authentic, true self, and you stop trying to please people, you stop trying to be something you're not, you stop trying to wear all the masks, the finite masks that society has put on you, whether you're a teacher, a doctor, a mother, a daughter, a wife, a lover, a woman, a man. You just stop identifying with the finite aspects of yourself, and you start to identify with the infinite, which is all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be, that exists within all of us. And you realize that no one is really your foe, your nemesis, the one who is victimizing you, and that helps you to step beyond victimization. You realize that you're playing against each other in this divine story. I always say God is the divine storyteller, divine infinite storyteller, and we're all stories in the mind of God. So you begin to realize that we're all just been playing this story without putting energy, without blaming, without getting angry, and without being encapsulated in this Vescovus Pisces harness of duality. You can step above it into this wonderful triangle, with this wonderful trifold wave of understanding, rising above duality. And when you can do that, then you can step into your power, and you can realize the truth that you are the co-creator with infinite God source of your reality, of your divine holographic template. And this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of us flashing in and out, in toward infinite source and out, projecting what we want to experience. And as each of us do this, we will come together like divine jigsaw puzzle pieces, laying the foundation for this beautiful new earth. And it's going to be founded in biosyncing with our organic Mother Earth, that she too has decided to ascend. She too is regaining these beautiful fragmented pieces of herself. She's been fragmented into so many different realities, dimensions, and aspects of herself, and they're all coming back together, and it's an exciting time to be alive. So a lot of that is the first step, of course, is beginning to see, not spiritually bypassing. And okay. Truth is, I've had people say to me, I had this one gal say, "Oh God, when they read my book, it's so negative. It's so negative. It's negative." Well, no, it's not. The problem is we have been asleep in the dream, and many of us, we've had beautiful times, but we've also had a mixed bag. We've had a lot of setbacks. Chances are many of you are like me. I've had wonderful visions, wonderful dreams, and every time I get all my mojo going and I get it started, whether it was my film school in Florence, whether it was my writing, whether it was screenplays, all these wonderful things, I always found that they would start to take off, and then something would slap me back down, something would sabotage me, something would get in the mix. And I realized now it was timing, of course, because now's the time, because there has been an overlay of this Fibonacci fallen geometry fallen, the parasites who have been leeching off of us and stealing our thunder and taking us just when we were about to accomplish something. There's been this play that's been going on in the world of duality, but we're moving beyond that now. Those of us that can see, we can see the strings, we can see the pattern, we can see. And I, as a daughter of two family therapists, psychotherapists, you have to see the dysfunctional patterns. You have to see the ancestral miasma in order to move beyond it. So, of course, in my book, and in life, you have to see the first 21 chapters are everything that's wrong. And the truth is, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong because it's been built on a faulty foundation. All right. And that's why when you really can see that it's wrong and trust yourself to be that lone wolf for a while, to be the person that looks insane, because when you're in an insane asylum, in which we are, the insanity of humanity, the things that are going on in this world are crazy. I mean, people killing each other's children, calling it war, and people poisoning each other, and people eating and producing food that is not even food. I mean, I don't think I have to convince you how crazy the planet is, and is becoming more and more every day. So you have to just stop. You have to stop feeding that. It's like the two wolves. You have to stop feeding the crazy wolf. I know it's supposed to be the wolf of fear, but stop feeding the crazy one. And then bring your energy in. A lot of us have been isolated. A lot of us have been alone this time frame. And especially with the COVID lockdowns, we've had to turn inward, because it ultimately divine infinite source is within, to find our power. And now, as we flash back out, we're able to do it different. And you have to know how broken it is in order to create a viable solution. So that's the truth. That's what's going on. Okay, so I also want to tell you, all right, this is just to lay the foundation so you can really start understanding and integrating this whole choice that is happening to you day to day, moment to moment. And especially if doors start shutting, many of you, I hear you, send me messages, you send me T-mails, which are telepathic emails. I hear you. And many of you are very alone, very isolated. You've lost relationships. Perhaps you're the black sheep of the family. And by the way, this Christmas, I'll be doing a special Black Sheep broadcast on Christmas Day. So the black sheep of the family, especially with Thanksgiving coming up, many of you don't even want to be with your family. And if you are, love them for who they are. But if you're not, okay, that's fine. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why you're breaking up with, you're getting divorced. You're breaking up with people. There's a reason why you've lost friends. There's a reason why your family, doesn't talk to you. There's a reason. Okay. And it's to disconnect with the old, because you've got to clear the way for so much better. And I'm telling you, and I'm sitting here talking to you in a palace that I just got when I came to Malta, and I had no idea. It's just the most incredible palace. And I had no idea this would come up for me, and I just knew I had to do it. I'm not sure how it's going to work out financially, but I just knew I had to lease it for, I have a couple year lease now, because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of beautiful sacred pilgrimages here, especially for women, to bring back the goddess, the return of the goddesses. I'm calling it the Goddess Palace. But it does get better, but you have to go through. It's the hero's journey. You have to go through that kiss of death. You have to go into that innermost cave. You have to let go of the past to clear the way for the future. And I know when it's happening, sometimes you lose faith. Sometimes you feel totally alone. Sometimes you feel like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And I'm here to tell you there is a divine plan. It is all happening for a reason. And just let it go and just tune inward. Pay attention to that divine inner child that you have. Love her. Give her all the love that she's been seeking from the people outside of you who weren't even really giving it to her, because only you can love yourself the way you have wanted to be loved by others. All right. That's huge. Just sit with that, meditate with that. But next week, we're going to go into some more down to earth, viable solutions as we're going to be talking to Sasha Stone, who, if you don't know him, he's, I guess the best word for him is a visionary. I spent Christmas, black sheep of the family I am. He invited me to his home and to meet some of his wonderful souls that gravitate toward him, that are part of this, building this New Earth community in Bacalar, Mexico. And I was down there last year. And it was a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. I really was impressed by him. He's very humble, very dedicated, and he has some amazing visions, wonderful visions. Now, I'm not promoting anything. I'm not telling you to invest in anything. I would never do that, because you're your own expert. You're very wise people, and that's not what it's about. It's not trying to sell you anything, but what it is to open up those pathways in your brain, so you can start thinking in new categories, and you can start co-creating a future that is so much better than the one that is being dictated to you in our current society. Get up, go to work, consume, watch television, die. I mean, if you're bored with your life, if you keep thinking there's got to be something better, then you got to say there's got to be something better, and I want it, and you have to grab it, and you have to make space for it, and that does take a leap of faith. So that's what's going to be happening next Monday. So please tune into that. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for those of you who are listening and who are supporting this channel, this talk show, the Infinite Human Talk Show, and the Voice America Empowerment Channel. We're growing by leaps and bounds. And I really feel like just putting these ideas and these thoughts out into cyberspace is really creating a whole new consciousness renaissance, and it's bringing people together who are thinking of solutions and co-creating a whole new infinite earth. And we're going to create a really beautiful place to live, and we're the ones that have to do it. I say time and time again in my book, it's not time to wait for someone to fix things. We're not going to wait around for a POTUS or for the good aliens to come in, or for Jesus to come back. That's a slave is waiting to be freed. It's only slaves wait to be freed. Only, that's not taking responsibility for your life and creating the life you want to live into. It's like you're taking back the pen and you're writing a story. You're writing the kind of world, you're painting the kind of picture you want to step into and live. And it's just a time for it. It is possible. So I also want to say, announcement that's coming up is that my audiobook, I know everyone's been asking me for it and, saying, when are you going to do the audiobook? Do you have an audiobook? Well, I have an audiobook. I did my job. It's now being edited and put together by, the folks that do that. And it should be out in the next week or so, in time for Christmas. So you can just tune it on, turn it on and listen to it in your car or when you're working out or whatever. I know people like to do that nowadays. And I also, it's in it, and I'm coming out with a second edition, kind of an updated version of the Infinite Human, because I released it during, right after the scandemic, as I call it. So it's kind of integrating and tying the knots. And unfortunately, it's saying a lot of the things that I had said before and showing you how it has come true, and kind of bringing the pieces together even more, so we have the actual proof of what I had intuited and many of us had, and what has happened. So, and that's in the new audio version too. So you can get the audio version or you can buy a print book, and it has a lot more of a lot of the more information from what I call the true Bible, which is the parts of the Bible that are now under the Vatican that weren't allowed to be put in there. That's been channeled through many different sources, so it's in what we call the Emerald Records, or the truth frequency of the sacred scrolls that have been hidden throughout our planet, and some are still hidden. So it has some of that in it. So I think it would be a real good thing if it resonates, to get that for you. And then I have also a lot of I'm going to come out with 2 more children's books, which I have to get. They're done. I just have to get them in print. And there are some good children's books on there. There's The Magical Mist that empowers the creative imagination of children. It's a wonderful, timeless classic. And The Little Shell, which talks about death, that there is no death for children. And I had a woman from hospice once turn to me and say, "You really should write a book for children to cope with death, especially when they lose loved ones like grandparents. Hopefully it's just, it's people who are older and had a full life, but nowadays there's a lot of other stuff going on." So it really is that kind of book. It comes from a very, very spiritual place, and takes all that fear and misconception out of this beautiful transition. And so those are the 2 children's books. And then there's The Pathway Home, which is a guide for inner divine healing, and it's placing, and we're going to be talking a lot about healing in January, but basically you can't heal anyone. You are always healing yourself, and you can have supportive people, a team around you. But this book helps you to look at take responsibility for your own healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay, so we're getting close to our time. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. I would just say that this week, if you can be very, very grateful, now I say Thanksgiving, I don't want to destroy it. It's a beautiful, beautiful time to come together with loved ones and to be so grateful, and try to get good food if you can. I know it's hard because the products are so bad, but if you're growing your own food, then you can have a really nice organic Thanksgiving. And there's nothing wrong with Thanksgiving, unfortunately. And I was just shocked as hell when I came back. Like I said, I've mostly live abroad, and I came back one year. It was probably 10 or 20 years ago for Thanksgiving to be with my family. And I heard this thing called Black Friday. I thought, oh my God, what a horrible name, Black Friday. And I think my nephew was going to stay up all night at that time just to buy stuff. And only in America you're grateful, and then the next day you're out there consuming again. So yeah, I think most of you are intelligent enough to not get totally co-opted by that anymore. It's over here now. And I think, although I do think America is in for a big fall on the Fibonacci spiral, it's going to be a wonderful thing. I'm eternal optimist. I'll just tell you, like my father before me, it's going to be a wonderful thing because America's always led the way. So as we're going to be one of the first ones to see what a dead end this descending spiral is, and more people are going to just jump off. It's like jumping off the Titanic, or the frog jumping out of the boiling pot and realizing it's not a jacuzzi. And as we do that, we are going to become the leaders of the planet and really do some amazing entrepreneuring. Starseed, I have a company now called Starseed Enterprises. We're going to be creating some amazing new kinds of technology, new kinds of new everything. The sky infinite. There's no limit. Okay, so it's an exciting time, and that's what this show is now going to be about. I'll be talking a little bit about maybe the old stuff and how we can we can, make it anew. And it's all going to be about creating it anew. And please send me any comments that you want to at my website, www.infinitehuman.com. I'd love to hear from you, and I love to hear what you're doing. Please, what are you doing to be the change? How are you doing it different? Because this show's not just talk, talk, talk. It's about walking the walk. So I really want to hear from you. And if you can think this week, how can you walk the walk different, especially in this wonderful time of being so grateful? So, with that said, I think I will leave you with just a very powerful energy that I'm sending through cyberspace. If you can feel it, it's just this wonderful feeling of gratitude that puts you in such a divine, infinite state. Gratitude for our Mother Earth and all the abundance that she gives to us. She cares for every need. She takes care of all our needs and of all creation, of the animal world that's around us, and all the signs and symbols that the universe is giving us. And for our families, even if you're the black sheep, you can still love them so much and just accept them for who they are and where they're at in their story, because it's okay. It's all good. It's all God. It's all part of the process. So please have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving wherever you are in the world. It's a good time. Thursday's a good day to give thanks. And it happens to be my birthday too. So I don't do birthday because I say I always identify with 33. I'll always be 33. But I do celebrate life and the fact that I'm alive and I was born. So again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And I will sign off now. Ciao for now. See you next week.
All right, terrific, Elizabeth. All clear. Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day. And
Okay, and you have a great Thanksgiving if I don't
Thank
talk.
you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You too. Have a great holiday. Thank you.
Okay,
All
bye.
right, bye-bye.
Bye.